The province that gave W.A.C. Wacky Bennett and Bill Fantasy Gardens Vanderzam to Canada's political heritage can make a serious claim to originality in politics. But I must take exception to the many sage observers insisting that BC politics is uniquely weird or the strangest in all of Canada, and that Tuesday's result, with some ballots still not tabulated, almost certainly a judicial recount or two, is a high watermark of weird and strange politics. As a proud Newfoundlander, I must protest. It might be 50 years ago, but the last Smallwood election still has no parallel. The results were 20 for the Smallwood Liberals, 21 for the Tories, and 1 independent tie. On top of that, 6 districts had less than a 100-vote majority, and 1 as minuscule as 8 votes. And in that district, in a fit of pyromania or despair, the returning officer in the town of Sally's Cove burned all the ballots sometime in the early hours of 2 or 3 a.m., consigning the district to recount limbo in a hell of an election. I leave out of the story the buying and selling of the 1 independent candidate, the oceans of rum that lubricated all negotiations, midnight press conferences, 2 a.m. TV appearances, and the nightmares of the lieutenant governor of the day. Compared to that, BC politics today is a model of sanity, elegance, and clarity. Still, Tuesday was interesting. It made Andrew Weaver the most powerful Green leader in the country. Should Mr. Weaver back the NDP, ideologically likely, what becomes of the Kinder Morgan pipeline? What becomes of the compact between Mr. Trudeau and Premier Christy Clark, which seemingly guaranteed the go-ahead? What becomes of Mr. Trudeau's celebrated equilibrium between jobs and the environment, his delicate shuffle between fervent climate change policies and a depressed Alberta economy? In the shadow of the anniversary of the Fort McMurray flames, the crash of the oil economy, the PM's keeping promise that Alberta's resources will not be landlocked by a British Columbia veto, keeping that will strain his wits and ours. An NDP government in BC will also bring heartache, ironically, to an NDP government in Alberta. A novel friction. Ms. Notley and Mr. Horgan share the same political flag, but on oil and pipelines they march in different parades. Likewise, should Mr. Weaver back Christy Clark, what concessions on the same issue will she have to make? And then, of course, there's Donald Trump. There is always Donald Trump. What of Clark's threatened retaliations to U.S. thermal coal shipping out of BC? Now, quarreling with Trump is undeniably inviting and even delicious. But with NAFTA under threat, can Mr. Trudeau afford to indulge that wonderful vocation? Mr. Weaver's green beachhead, then, hits both Edmonton and Ottawa. So the BC election, while calm by Newfoundland's ancient standards, has set many cats among not a few pigeons. For The National, I'm Rex Murphy.